driver of a truck involved in a deadly crash on the N3 near Marianhill Toll Plaza this week has been released or granted bail. 42-year-old Vuso Tega is facing 2 charges of culpable homicide. On Tuesday, the truck he was driving ploughed into several vehicles near the Marianhill Toll Plaza, killing at least 2 people. Newzroom Afrika's Karinda Jagmohan has been in court for us, joins us now live. Let's speak, Karinda, about the circumstances and conditions under which this man has now been granted bail.
Indeed, Tembekile. Well, we hear that 42-year-old Vuso Tega is originally from Zimbabwe. However, he is in the country legally, meaning he has the relevant documents for him to be here and working here. We understand that he has been with the company, this particular company, for the past 2 months. And according to the Department of Transport authorities in KZN, say that it was a brake failure that led to the accident. Dashcam footage shows the truck that Tega was driving ploughing into several vehicles. Now, what's interesting is that when the accident happened, there were reports that 4 people were killed. However, at this time, according to the report from police handed over to the NPA, there are 2 people noted as deceased in this matter, and therefore Tega is facing 2 counts of culpable homicide, with alternative charges being reckless driving. Now, we hear more of his personal circumstances as well. We understand that he has 2 children aged 9 and 6, and he is the sole breadwinner for his family, including his mother, his wife and his children who live with him in the Bluff area. At court, we didn't see any people coming to protest, and this is because the funeral for the couple that were killed, Praveel Rajbansi and Priya Nankumar, their funerals are underway today. Earlier this week, we spoke to a family member who said that they had a bright future ahead of them, and in fact at one point even saying that Priya, the lady, was expected to start a scholarship abroad next year. They were both well involved in politics here in Durban, KwaZulu-Natal. So at this point, the family is burying their loved ones, and here now, of course, Tega being granted 10,000 Rand bail. He initially told the court he could only afford bail of 3,000 Rand because his basic earnings came to about 8,000 Rand, but the court then increasing this amount. He also has bail conditions, including his passport be handed over, to report regularly to the local police office, and to inform police if he needs to travel out of the country. Of course, we know at this point that he is originally from Zimbabwe, but the NPA saying that he has the documents to work here in this country. Earlier on, we did ask the NPA about his confusion as to how many counts of culpable homicide Tega is facing. Natasha Ramkisonkara from the NPA was here with us, and she explained further. Take a listen to what she had to say.
Well, the state can actually only work with the contents of the docket which we received from the SAPS, and according to that docket, there are only 2 deceased persons mentioned in there. So at this stage, it's 2 counts of culpable homicide.
Well, there you hear Natasha Ramkisonkara just explaining the confusion as to how many cases of culpable homicide Tega is facing. But of course, as this case will appear in court next in January, it does bring to mind that horrific accident that happened in northern KZN, Pongola. Remember, Tembekile, when a truck took over the barrier lanes. Tibasiso Siyaya was driving that truck and ultimately killed 20 people, including 18 children, school children. Now, he will next appear in court on 1st December. He had abandoned his bail application recently, fearing the outrage of the local community following this accident. Of course, still parents coming to terms with the fact that they've lost their children. And over and above all of this, authorities now saying that they do want to increase road safety measures. At the time when the Pongola accident happened, the Transport Minister Fikile Mbalula said that he was working with the Passenger Rail Association agency PRASA to look at ways to increase rail capacity, because many of the concerns right now on the ground is the increased volume of trucks that we are seeing on highways, because cargo is not being carried as much as it should be on our railway lines, our railway systems. And there's also been then calls for increased regulations for truck drivers to ensure that they have the correct licenses, that they can actually navigate and drive these heavy vehicles that are on highways. This was a particular call from the family of the couple who died in the accident that happened in Durban on Tuesday. And of course, they're also calling on authorities to be more visible on the road, as we see essentially over the years now just more traffic on our highways and this becoming more dangerous.
Karinda, Jagmohan, thank you very much for that update.